Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Greg Gilligan. I'm Vice President of Operations at RVA757 Connects. Thank you so much for joining us for the latest RVA757 Connects Virtual Innovation Spotlight webinar. We have an exciting program this afternoon and a very compelling one to explore a groundbreaking partnership with Old Dominion University and Google in launching the first of its kind AI incubator in higher education. Before we get into the program, just a couple of housekeeping matters. I'll give a shout out to our sponsor today. Then we'll give you a quick update on what's happening at RVA757 Connects. Then we'll delve into today's topic, and then we'll leave some time for Q&As at the very end. Just a reminder, we record all of our webinars, so this recording will be available on our website later this afternoon. And if you have any questions, please use the chat function in the webinar feature here, and I will be able to ask those questions at the very end of the program. As you can see, RVA757 Connects is a nonprofit organization, so we rely on donations for our operations. Here are our corporate supporters, and we appreciate and recognize their support. One of our corporate sponsors is Williams Mullen, the law firm that was founded in 1909 here in Richmond, that has grown into becoming one of the largest law firms in Virginia, with offices across the state in North Carolina and South Carolina, serving clients not only in the mid-Atlantic footprint that it has, but across the U.S. and internationally. They are this webinar sponsor for today. The firm has more than 250 lawyers, and let me just point out that Tom Franz, the firm's chair emeritus and former president and CEO from 2010 to 2015 of the firm, serves as the co-chair of RVA 757 Connects. And Woody Fowler, who is the current chairman, president, and CEO of Williams Mullen, serves on our board and on our executive committee. So we want to make sure that we thank them, both Woody and Tom, not only for their service and support on our board, but also for the financial support from Williams Mullen. Let me tell you a little bit about RVA 757 Connects. Our mission is to improve the economic success and quality of life of everyone in the Richmond region, which we call RVA, and the Hampton Roads region, which was called 757. We're a coalition of leaders representing businesses, higher education, and organizations. We follow a national model where nearby localities collaborate on initiatives that advance both regions. We are advancing the mega region from the Metro Richmond to Hampton Roads as the I-64 Innovation Corridor. As you can see, we're pursuing several different priorities. We're helping the I-64 Innovation Corridor become a global internet hub, and more on that in just a moment. We're also advancing multi-use trails such as Trail 57 in Hampton Roads and the Fall Line Trail here in Richmond and the Virginia Capitol Trail between Richmond and Jamestown, and now the extension from Jamestown into Williamsburg. You can read more about our initiatives and our priorities on our website at RVA757Connects.com. One of our priorities is to encourage collaboration and showcase innovation. We are doing so in a couple of ways. One is hosting these Innovation Spotlight webinars. Mark your calendars for our next webinar on Wednesday, April the 1st. This is where we're going to learn about how Central Virginia has become the hub for Lyme disease vaccine research. Virginia Commonwealth University researcher Dr. Richard Marconi is one of the nation's leading experts on Lyme disease, and he's the inventor behind the leading Lyme disease vaccine for dogs. Building on that success, his downtown Richmond laboratory is developing a safe and effective human vaccine, applying decades of research to prevent that tick-borne disease before it starts. Attendees will also get some insight into how universities like VCU function, and ODU too, and function as engines of growth, talent, and development, and problem solving, and how civic and business leaders play a critical role in sustaining that ecosystem. As I mentioned, our top priority is spearheading efforts to have the I-64 Innovation Corridor designated as a global internet hub. The plan is a bold and innovative approach to harness a once-in-a-generation opportunity to transform the future of the Richmond region and the Hampton Roads region. Let me turn the program over to John W. Martin, the President and CEO of RVA 757 Connects, who will outline what's currently unfolding before the Virginia General Assembly and the proactive steps our organization is taking to ensure that policymakers understand what's truly at stake. The digital infrastructure, including data centers of all types and sizes, is foundational to our mega region's competitiveness and this pivotal moment. John, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thanks, Greg. There's a lot going on the Hill right now. And one thing that is happening is a big debate around the sales and use tax on data center equipment. And the debate is over the exemption. We've had an exemption on this tax for 15 years when the General Assembly said, let's become a digital hub. And it really has paid off, and especially with Northern Virginia. But now we're starting to see the data center expansion all through the metro, Central Virginia area, Metro Richmond, and beyond, and other communities around the Commonwealth. And so the current debate is happening where the Senate is saying, let's end this exemption on sales and use now, like January 1st, 2027, where the House is saying, well, maybe we should actually extend it out to 2050. Don't have it end in 2035, but let's extend it out. But definitely let's keep it in place right now and honor the commitment to 2035, an exemption on sales and use tax on data center equipment. So I want to give you some background on this because it's really important to us. As Greg said, we really are trying to push our region along, our mega region, as a global internet hub. And when you combine the digital assets of Hampton Roads and Metro Richmond, we qualify as a global internet hub. We are reaching out across the world through those subsea cables, but we have a preponderance of digital assets from data centers to internet exchanges and the network ring that's being completed in Hampton Roads. This map is on our website, but it really shows all of these assets, and we're now getting talked about in a new way. We think digital infrastructure, which data centers are part of, is our leapfrog strategy to really catch up our mega region in Virginia to the other places that we compete against. Digital infrastructure runs our economy, and it's what all of our businesses need in universities to be competitive on a global stage. So what we've done is really doubled down on this and said, our message right now is that this debate, you need to think about data centers as part of a much bigger story. It's digital infrastructure ecosystem. And this ecosystem, by all accounts, is driving job growth and investment growth and really giving us a competitive advantage. Virginia, a competitive advantage, and our mega region, a competitive advantage. And what we've seen is that mature infrastructure, digital infrastructure hubs have a better story in productivity per worker. And that productivity per worker really drives that local GDP growth. So we're calling this our leapfrog strategy. We've got to double down on being a global internet hub and really celebrate all of this investment coming from digital infrastructure providers. So we are saying, let's not eliminate the state sales tax and use tax exemption on data center equipment. If we do, then the next wave of investments is likely to go other places. I want to go a little bit more detail on this. Our business case is this policy change, this was put in place 15 years ago that the exemption would happen in 2035. You just can't change a business deal in midstream. And it really damages our reputation for stability. We haven't been heavily in the incentive games as Virginia, but we certainly have been in the stability game. And businesses have trusted that and come here and invested knowing that they've made a deal and that we don't change policies willy-nilly. The other thing is that our economy really depends on this continued digital infrastructure growth. We've got to keep going. The last couple of years, 84% of our total capital investment in Virginia was in data centers. It has really been a juggernaut and something that we just don't want to stop abruptly. And the issue comes down to fair taxes and how a tax relates to a particular industry. This particular tax on equipment, it might have been appropriate for years ago when you'd build a data center and that initial equipment would stay in place for 7 years. Now, because of AI and just the computing power, the equipment the data center operators purchase, the velocity of that equipment refresh is just way beyond what anybody has appreciated in understanding what this tax does to this. This tax actually is taxing the engine that's driving our economy. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on this because it's so important to understand. Every industry wants to pay its fair share, but the comment that we keep hearing is that why should small business pay sales and use tax, but data centers be exempt? Well, in Virginia and a lot of states, they routinely don't apply sales tax to certain production business inputs. You're trying to avoid what's called tax pyramiding. And so there are industries across Virginia where you don't have the sales and use tax applied to equipment. It's just sync with what that equipment is doing for the rest of the Commonwealth. It's in this particular tax, it's not a blanket carve out. It's performance based. Most of the states that have this exemption, it comes with thresholds that you have to have a certain level of investment or a certain number of employees that are going to happen. And as I mentioned before, this business model has shifted. The pace of technology and the shortened refresh times means you're taxing equipment that isn't staying in place for a long period of time. It's just a lot different. So we've got to think about new ways to tax, not an old way. In this equipment reinvestment, if we bring this tax back, there's 35 other states that don't have that they've exempted their sales and use tax. So we think the latest investment in AI and the latest equipment refresh is just going to go to other states. So that's what I have on the next slide is really to show what could happen. And we think expansion would slow first. You just wouldn't have a mass exodus of data centers, but expansion slow, upgrades and refresh cycles shift next. We become a mature or secondary market. In long term, our footprint shrinks. So what we've built over the last 15 years is at jeopardy. And we believe, as RVA757 Connects, we have to protect this investment and really continue to nurture it. So we've really gotten on the wagon of really trying to make these arguments in the best way possible. So what we're doing right now and have been doing over the last couple of weeks, we have launched an online data center and digital infrastructure information resource hub. And it's just all about the what and the why and the how of digital infrastructure and data centers to really explain the arguments behind this industry and just how much it impacts businesses. We've also created a series of videos with CEOs talking about the impact. Greg, I think we want to play one now.
Data centers are just one part of Virginia's growing digital infrastructure ecosystem that sparks ripple effects throughout the economy by adding new jobs, fueling innovation, and driving growth across the state. In this series, we're taking a look at the people and businesses that lead them.
So Acoustical Sheet Metal Company manufactures packaging for backup power. And that's making sure that if the lights go out, you have a generator there to power the data center and really get things back up and running in seconds. The best part of this journey has been the growth of our team. Back in February 2019, when I joined the company, we had just 100 employees. Today, we've grown to more than 650, and we're not stopping there. We're excited and proud that Acoustical Sheet Metal is expanding its footprint in Virginia Beach for the third time in 6 years. This time, we're investing $50 million to grow our operations and create 350 new jobs. We believe that this industry is very robust. We play an important part in it, and that's what gets me up each morning is to continue to reach for the stars.
So this supply chain story is going on all across Virginia and certainly across our mega region. So we encourage you to go to our website and see more of the CEOs talking about this beyond data centers. Is really about our economy and how this is really helping propel us forward. So we've also reached out to all General Assembly members and we've shared our new vision map on what we're trying to build as this global internet hub. And we've crafted op-eds and sponsored content and other outreach media efforts. Here's an RTD op-ed that just ran, and it's going to appear in print tomorrow. We've sponsored Virginia Business Email Blast. We've gone and worked with Virginia News to push out content. Just everywhere we can that we think that opinion leaders and legislative leaders are reading Business Sense, another really rich content piece. And this week, we're going to send out another package that really has a thoughtful white paper attached. And it's signed by all of the people that are behind RVA757 Connects. And really just trying to make this point that, this exemption is slated to end in 2035. It was codified in law. Let it run its course. And let's support this industry that has just really put Virginia on the map and can really work to improve our productivity per worker and help us leapfrog back to our leadership and economic growth. So please visit our website and look at these op-eds and white papers and download any of them and send them to your friends, particularly people in the General Assembly. And let's advocate for sensible policies that can keep this industry headed in a way that's going to benefit all the communities across Virginia. So be happy to answer any questions when we get to the Q&A session, but this is an appropriate preamble to what we're going to hear from ODU. We've got to make sure that all of that investment in AI is being generated with data center work here in Virginia.
Great. Thank you, John. Appreciate the update on very important information. Now let's turn to today's topic, which, as John mentioned, we're going to be exploring how Old Dominion University and Google have launched the first of its kind AI incubator in higher education. The enterprise ecosystem integrates secure data infrastructure, research acceleration, academic innovation, operational modernization, and industry collaboration into one unified model. This groundbreaking partnership has resulted in the MonarchSphere, powered by Google Cloud, which is a secure and scalable AI ecosystem designed to accelerate discovery, enhance teaching and learning, and modernize institutional operations, and strengthen workforce alignment. This initiative also positions ODU and the Hampton Roads region and Virginia at the forefront of responsible enterprise AI innovation. Now let's hear from our speakers. Let me introduce there are three speakers today. Dr. Brian O. Hemphill, who became the president of Old Dominion University as the ninth president back in July 1st of 2021. Let me just note that President Hemphill is also on the board of RVA 757 Connects. Then we'll hear from Dr. Krissa Malogiani. I hope I pronounced that correctly, Krissa. She serves as the Senior Associate Vice President for Digital Innovation and Chief Digital Experience Officer at ODU, where she leads enterprise AI and digital transformation strategy across academic, research, and operations. And then finally, we'll hear from Adam. Adam and Krissa will work together. Adam Deere, he's the leading industry executive of rapid innovation for education and research for Google Cloud. He's been with Google for 19 years, the last 10 of which he's dedicated to building cutting-edge technology solutions for the education industry. Before I turn it over to Dr. Hemphill, let me remind everyone that if you have any questions, please use for the speakers, please use the chat function. And so now I'm going to go off of my my slides and turn the program over, and let me introduce the ninth president of Old Dominion University, Dr. Brian O. Hemphill. Dr.
Well, thank you,
Hemphill?
Greg. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate the opportunity, and good afternoon, everyone. We're pleased to be here today to highlight the cutting edge and transformational work occurring here at Old Dominion. Today we're going to discuss a recently announced partnership with Google. This past October, we were very excited about the opportunity to announce the partnership and joining forces, if you will, to co-create and co-develop the nation's very first AI incubator powered by the Google Cloud for higher education. Now, I will tell you that this partnership was made possible because of Old Dominion University's focus on innovation and leadership within AI. We developed the MonarchSphere, which you will hear more about shortly, and it was truly designed to, I would say, accelerate discovery, research, and digital transformation. Now, I will say to each of you, it is not the traditional research center that we think about or a particular physical space. It is a digital environment in which Googlers, ODU researchers, and industry partners intersect to explore, create, and develop AI-driven solutions to real-world challenges. And that is an area that we were very much committed to. But at the same time, We're also focusing on several key areas for the university and our collaborators, including business, industry, our municipalities, our partners, as we think about the community and also how we can impact the Commonwealth. Now, we are starting with a defined set of projects, but I will be the first to tell you that the possibilities are endless. So again, we appreciate the opportunity to spotlight Old Dominion University's MonarchSphere, and this is a significant step forward in our overall journey and one that we're proud to share with our community and our Commonwealth. Greg?
That's awesome. Thank you so much, President Hemphill. We really do appreciate that introduction. And now we'll turn it over to Chrysler.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting us. It's an honor to be here to present how we work and what we have done with MonarchSphere, our AI incubator powered by Google Cloud. As we all know, artificial intelligence is not a future trend. It is here and it's not going anywhere. And it is actively reshaping how we conduct research, how do we deliver education, run organizations, and evaluate talent. In moments like this, institutions have two options: react to technology or shape how it is adopted. The pace is not incremental, it is exponential, but speed without structure creates risks. Across the country, we're seeing rapid experimentation, but we also see fragmented efforts with unclear guardrails and uncertain return on investment. MonarchSphere, powered by Google Cloud, is ODU's response to that movement. It is not a lab, it is not a pilot, but it is a strategic applied AI engine for the region and beyond. Today, alongside our new partners and Adam Deere from Google here, we will show you how we designed it and why that design matters. So what is MonarchSphere? MonarchSphere is a strategic applied AI innovation hub designed to accelerate responsible AI adoption across higher education industry and the public sector. It is a secure environment where ideas can move from concept to validation to scalable impact, supported by academic expertise and enabled by world-class cloud infrastructure. But more importantly, MonarchSphere is about translation. It translates research into application, experimentation into validation, and it moves innovation into scalable implementation. And this is not theoretical AI, it is applied AI, grounded in governance and defined by impact. Why MonarchSphere? Somebody might ask. When we looked at the landscape, we saw four converging realities. AI tools are evolving faster than most organizations can safely integrate them. Many environments are not prepared for experimentation involving sensitive data, and at the same time, the workforce gap continues to widen, and particularly in regions seeking to remain competitive. And leaders are increasingly asking a pragmatic question: where is the measurable return on investment, and where is the hype? What is hype over actual real impact? In other words, momentum has been high, but structure has been uneven. And MonarchSphere was designed at the intersection of those realities. We introduce structure when fragmentation exists, bring clarity where there is noise, and enable responsible acceleration instead of just reactive experimentation. We are not chasing AI, we are shaping how it is adopted. What we bring on the table, obviously the ODU expertise. What makes MonarchSphere is credible is not just the infrastructure, it is institutional depth. We bring expertise in data science, artificial intelligence, and computer science as expected, but our capability extends far beyond those domains. Our engineering faculty understand complex system design and integration. Our health sciences researchers navigate highly sensitive data environments with rigor. Our maritime and coastal resilience scholars address real-world challenges with global implications. Our cybersecurity experts build secure architectures. And our social scientists examine governance, policy, behavioral impact, and ethics. That interdisciplinary strength matters. AI adoption is not purely technical. We're not just talking about the technology. AI adoption is organizational, it's behavioral and ethical, and ultimately, it's systemic. MonarchSphere is built on that full spectrum capability. And obviously, we brought the Google capability. I'm just going to touch here because, as Greg mentioned, at the end of my presentation, Adam is going to talk more about what the Google capability is, from Vertex AI and Gemini advanced models to agentic AI, high-performance compute, research tooling, and of course, the AI training and career pathways. Oops. And I'm sorry, Adam, there was a gap in the presentation. So let me talk a little bit about operationalization of AI. Ideas are easy. Turning vision into execution requires discipline, though. Inside MonarchSphere, innovation moves through a structured pathway. It begins with strategic scoping, clearly defining the problem before selecting the technology, the appropriate technology. Not all AI is the same. AI is not just LLMs. Solutions then move into control testing with governed environments where approaches can be evaluated safely and responsibly. Promising ideas advance through research-backed proof of concept, and from there they can transition into responsible, scalable implementation. We're already applying these models across multiple areas and multiple projects, from AI course assistants that support faculty designing and delivering courses to AI-powered tutoring tools that help students engage with complex material. We're also exploring AI assisting advising models, generative AI pipelines for media and instructional content development, and operational AI tools that improve and support internal workflows. These initiatives are just early examples of how applied AI can move from concept to capability, all within the governed ecosystem. This approach allows us to accelerate without destabilizing. It reduces risk while maintaining momentum, and it ensures that velocity does not come at the expense of responsibility. So inside the MonarchSphere ecosystem, what is happening there? Like I said earlier, MonarchSphere is not just a product. It is a collaborative ecosystem that brings together higher education, industry, and the public sector in a shared applied environment. Within this ecosystem, we work directly with faculty, with researchers, and external partners to identify high-impact use cases, and then we translate them into the applied solutions. That often begins with determining the right approach, selecting appropriate models, designing the workflows, and ensuring that underlying architecture aligns with the problem being solved. In many cases, the answer is not simply deploying an LLM. Applied AI may involve predictive models or computer vision, simulation environments, hybrid architectures that depend on the research and operational models. This collaborative model allows faculty and partners to extend their research into practical applications, while organizations can explore solutions in the governed environment, the secure environment, all before commit significant internal resources. The result is the shared innovation environment where ideas can be evaluated rigorously, the risk is reduced, and the promising approach can mature into the actual scalable solutions. Rather than isolated pilots, MonarchSphere enables this coordinated innovation across the institution and the different sectors. And of course, we never sacrifice governance or ethical oversight. So LEAD, it's an acronym that is not necessarily something we thought when we developed AI in MonarchSphere for AI, but it's something that became evident when we started optimizing the process within MonarchSphere. AI readiness is not a single event. It is not a checkpoint, and it is not linear. Sustainable innovation requires people to evolve alongside the technology, and not just episodically, but continuously. That's why our workforce strategy is structured around this acronym you see here, LEAD. And this is not a staircase, it's not necessarily sequential. It is an integrated maturity framework. At its foundation, AI literacy is embedded throughout everything we do within MonarchSphere. People have the opportunity and must understand what AI is, how it functions, where it adds value, and where its limitations lie. Without literacy, adoption then becomes reactive. But literacy alone is not enough. Applied exploration must be accessible and governed. Learners and professionals need environments where they can explore use cases, they can test workflows, and then build this fluency safely. Adoption happens in parallel. As these efforts mature, tools move into daily processes and they support and streamline the operations. And development operates alongside all of this. Development is where individuals move beyond AI to building with AI. They can design agents, create systems, and embed the capability directly into the organizational architecture. So lead is embedded through and through. Literacy informs experimentation, experimentation strengthens adoption, adoption drives development, and development expands literacy. This is a living ecosystem of readiness. LEAD ensures that technology capability and human readiness continue to evolve together, and that alignment is what creates durable advantage. So let me talk a little bit about the intake and methodology, because responsible acceleration, like I mentioned before, does require structure. So every initiative within MonarchSphere, internal and external, enters through a defined intake process. We start by scoping, and we scope strategically. We assess risk, and we evaluate data readiness and data sensitivity. Then we define experimentation guardrails. We align the projects with measurable objectives, and then we establish the clear transition pathways from this exploration to implementation. This is how responsible AI adoption can actually become operationalized. And I want to clarify what we are and what we are not. AI incubator can be everything, and what we are is a strategic applied AI hub, a strategic applied ecosystem, and where we convene higher education, industry, and the public sector around real world use cases. We translate research into validated applications. We guide responsible adoption through structured development, through testing, through governance, and through integration. And when appropriate, we support initiatives all from concept through full launch, ensuring they are stable, they are secure, and they are sustainable. We are not just an experimentation environment. We are this applied innovation engine designed to move ideas into operational reality. What we are not a transactional technology vendor, and we're not going to become that. We are not a standalone software development shop detached from institutional strategy. And we are not a replacement for ecosystem partners. We do not operate in isolation. Our role is to de-risk, validate, align, and accelerate innovation in partnership. Where full launch is warranted, we support it intentionally. Where long-term implementation requires specialized resources, we collaborate with the partners. That distinction matters because MonarchSphere is designed for durability. It's not one-off builds. As an anchor institution, ODU does more than participate in regional innovation. We help structure it. MonarchSphere lowers the barriers that often prevent organizations from engaging in advanced AI development. We provide access to enterprise-grade infrastructure, access to advanced models, and secure development environments that many organizations cannot realistically build on their own. But the advantage goes beyond access to technology. As I mentioned, we align research capability with workforce development. We connect exploration to real institutional and regional economic needs. We create shared infrastructure where fragmentation once slowed any progress and process. The result is this coordinated ecosystem that strengthens both the region and the Commonwealth's ability to compete in this rather increasingly AI-driven economy. So the innovation engine, what MonarchSphere actually is, and actually operates in this engine, the innovation engine. Ideas in this engine don't remain theoretical. They move through this structured life cycle. Concepts enter through the strategic scoping, promising approaches advance through governed testing environments, validated solutions transition into real-world deployment. So this structure allows the early exploration to mature into capability. Instead of scattered pilots, we build institutional knowledge, organizational knowledge, repeatable models, and scalable solutions. So we transform innovation from occasional success into sustained progress. Not every intake, any process is going to lead to its own new development. Existing projects might be adapted to meet the needs of a new partner, a new idea that comes through the intake process, and so on. Scalability, repeatability is key. Why this MonarchSphere ultimately creates a strategic opportunity for the region and the state. Our region, our Commonwealth, has an opportunity. We are here and we are discussing AI. We have this opportunity to not simply react to artificial intelligence. We can lead in research-grounded, human-centered cross-sector AI adoption. MonarchSphere positions ODU, the region, and the Commonwealth to move early, but most of all, move responsibly. We can test deliberately, we can build capacity and capability, and we can scale solutions with confidence. If we approach this momentum thoughtfully, we will not just participate in this era, we will define it. And leadership at this scale requires more than vision. It requires infrastructure, advanced models, secure enterprise environments, and this is where our partnership with Google becomes critical. Adam, I will turn it over to you and let me get the slides.
Yeah, and while Chris is bringing that up, I'll just say that Google is extremely grateful for this partnership with ODU. I think you've seen the template as Chris outlined. The mission was there, and when we started collaborating on how do we deliver our end of making that mission come to fruition, it was clear that the ODU leadership, all the way up to Dr. Hemphill, was in with not chasing AI innovation, but being the leader and shaping that, as Krista mentioned. How do you get in the driver's seat to say we are taking the reins and we are deciding for our institution how are we going to innovate on this new technology? And one of the main reasons that we are partnered together, I think, is in our early conversations, the ODU team kind of was evaluating why work with Google and not any of the other cloud vendors or partners. This is why the Google full stack AI optimized platform for research is the foundational reason why Google is where it is in the race with AI research. So I'll tell a little story. What we had at Google is a long view on machine learning and AI research. So if anyone can remember back in the days when it was just cell phones and we converted to smartphones, there was a move to voice to text, and people could talk to their phone, and that was a very interesting kind of cool feature. It took a lot of compute and a lot of actual early AI to figure out how to go from voice to text. And one of our key leaders on the research end did some back of the envelope math, Jeff Dean, who is the head of Google Brain. And he said, how much compute is it going to require if I have to translate voice to text for everybody on an Android phone in the world if they talk to their phone for 10 minutes per day? And the outcome was all the compute in the world that existed, all the CPUs, all the data centers that existed in the world at that time was required if that came to fruition. This is in the 2010s. So at that moment, Google Research decided we have to start building our own AI infrastructure to handle what is coming forth. Meanwhile, we started developing more and more research on models that would do these translations and do these transforms. The transformer paper came out from Google. That was the first thing that invented the LLM. And a fun note is that the T in GPT from OpenAI stands for transformer. That's based on the technology that was founded and then open sourced by Google in 2017. So I say this all to note that we've been in the game for a long time, and when fast forward to today, we have the only unified approach to AI research. So in this diagram, you can kind of see at the bottom AI infrastructure. That's what I'm talking about. That's the GPUs and Google proprietary AI chips called TPUs are at that foundation at the bottom. As John was talking about in the beginning, data centers, that's the data centers for Google. Data centers are extremely important to the future of AI development and innovation. And down at that bottom layer, Google's investment in this year is $185 billion. So that's how much money we put into that bottom layer per year. We then use that AI infrastructure to train our own models. So that's Gemini. That's the next layer. And then we have a platform called Vertex, which can train and deploy those models into production and build agents on the fourth level. And our subject matter experts can incorporate all the learnings that they know of working on the entire stack and work closely with ODU research as well as business operations and others. So I just want to kind of make sure that everybody understands why Google is at the the leader position in this, and why we think we can provide ODU and others with a really solid foundation to execute their mission. So let's move to the next slide, because I think it helps kind of crystallize what's actually happening and what type of solutions we're actually building when we get to that top layer of agents. And everybody's kind of considering what can I build using AI. Chris had kind of touched on it a little bit in the repeatableness and the scalableness and the secureness of what we are doing. We have built systems called, in particular, Gemini Enterprise, which is an operating system that can be run at an enterprise level, which organizes all the innovation around AI. So if we're going and building agents that focus on teaching and learning for tutoring, if we're building operational agents that focus on enrollment forecasting, if we're looking at content creation agents, whatever innovation wants to happen, this is the operating system where everyone can work in a secure fashion. And so we've leveraged this kind of component very heavily. And again, it allows us to repeat, scale, secure all of the innovation in one place. And I'll move to the next slide and just give you guys an example of an agentic experience that is being built at ODU, amongst others. This is one of, but it's very important, I think, for the state as well, because what we're seeing is the need for the folks that are coming into the talent pipeline, the students, to be able to understand where can I go in my learning career, and then my career after I leave the institution. So what we've built is a career pathways agentic experience. On top of all that fun stuff that I just showed, this is utilizing that super expensive AI hardware that Google invests in, and the stack of tools that that sits on top of it, with ODU teams and the Google expertise. We engineered this, and it's essentially a way for students to look at where are my skills now, how do they connect to the curriculum and pathways within ODU, and figure out what is my academic timeline, what are my costs, what should I be taking next semester if I have a certain goal of becoming registered nurse or bioinformatics specialist. What is my pathway? And this is a great job for AI, connecting to all the data sources that exist in the institution, pulling that all together, and using agents to make it a fantastical user experience. The next layer of this is to join that with live market data to give the students the idea of, okay, I should be looking at this career pathway because there are that many open roles when I leave the institution, or predicted, talent pipeline requirements in the state, can be, subjected into this as a data point for decision making, right? I can remember when I started my university career, I wish I had, kind of this type of guidance, right? And of course, we always, as Krista outlined, always have the human in the loop to these tools to make sure that, the experience is a fulfilling one and a complete one for the student. But it really does help, kind of take it to the next level. And what we want to achieve here is an amazing student experience at Old Dominion, and also reduce time to outcomes. In other places beyond this agentic experience, we work on the research end to try to get all research bottlenecks out of the way. So, in some of my work that I've done, I focus on time to science. How do I reduce the time to science that happens? So some of the groundbreaking research that's coming out of ODU now on cardiac scans that come into the systems. We've had researchers that have reduced their time to outcomes in their research by 35%. There's crazy numbers that are happening at this point, right, Krista? So the success of this program, because of the way that ODU has been all in and focused on the way that Krista outlined, this is the template. It's a very clear way to attack this AI innovation progress. It has immediately affected the research end, the teaching and learning end. The institution I can see is already benefiting. So I think that's my last slide, Krista. Is that right?
Right.
Well, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but this is a great time for us. The Google and ODU partnership is just beginning. I think we're only 6 or 7 months in, and the outcomes have been fantastic.
I agree.
That was great.
Thank you. I just want to mention something that Adam touched on. We're talking about time to science from months into days or hours even.
That's right.
Did you have something else to share, Chris?
Yes, I just want to share how you can all access the incubator. Can you all?
Oh yeah, there's a little QR code there.
Yes. And you'll see it.
So one more time. There we go.
There we go.
Chris, that was great and interesting. And Adam, did you say 185 billion just this year?
Yeah, that's billion with a B in 1 year.
In 1 year, wow.
I think we as John opened up with the AI innovation and Virginia as a tech hub. I think last year the investment on our footprint in Virginia data centers was $9 billion. And the refresh cycle, to John's point, is the craziest thing to deal with. And that's why another reason why partnering with the universities in the US is so important to Google. It's because we need to keep the research universities on the bleeding edge of that technology. So refresh rate on GPUs and our proprietary TPUs is about 12 months. Like, we come out with a faster, newer thing to do this AI inference training every year, maybe sooner. NVIDIA does the same thing, and we run the NVIDIA gear in our data centers as well. We have a tight partnership with them. So that means we get the newest NVIDIA as soon as they announce it. We already have it in our data centers. We're testing it, right? And by the time it's released, we've already figured it out, and we can supply it directly to the researchers in minutes. The other version of that is a university like ODU would have to go out, procure it, have it delivered, and rack it and stack it. And that is okay for some use cases if they need to have that static component of a data center. But really, a cloud answer to stay on the bleeding edge is why Google is so focused on the partnerships with the universities in the US. We have to stay ahead in the research race.
Well, now we're at the point of questions for you all. And let me start off. Chris, I have a question, then I'm going to have a question for Adam after that. But what makes the MonarchSphere different from a traditional AI lab or a traditional incubator?
Yeah, very good question. I mean, traditionally, incubators are either labs, like you said, focused primarily on research projects, or business incubators focus on startups, on developing new technologies, new products. We have designed MonarchSphere differently. First, it is a cross-sector by design. We bring together higher education, big tech, industry, and the public sector in a shared applied environment. This allows us to address the real operational research and the challenges we have in society now, rather than focusing on a single domain, a single project. Second, we focus in applied translation. I mentioned translation many times. We are not just experimenting with the tools, we are translating the research, the ideas into these validated solutions that we can responsibly deploy in real environments, in real life. Then MonarchSphere operates within a secure environment, within a framework that allows this secure innovation. Responsible AI, data governance, security are all built into the experimentation phase, into the experimentation process from the start. And this allows all the organizations and the institutions to explore AI safely, especially when we have sensitive data and operational systems, right? Then we integrate workforce development directly into this ecosystem. Through our framework, through MonarchSphere, academic programs work together, research works together, and the same environment that supports innovation is the same environment that prepares students, faculty, lifelong learners, and professionals to work effectively with AI. And finally, I would say that MonarchSphere supports the entire life cycle of applied AI. It is from identifying use cases to select the appropriate models, test, validate, and then move on to scalable implementation. So incubators focus on ideas, usually early stage experimentation, but in MonarchSphere, we focus on responsible real world adoption of AI.
Yeah, and I think it's incredible to be able to have this type of engine at the center of the university and benefit from the innovation that comes out. Possibly you build a production enterprise tool that gets launched and everybody's using it. Students, researchers, the career pathways is a great example of that. That is not a pie in the sky idea. It gets immediate use after development. So it's the fast flywheel, I think, is the difference.
And Adam, while you're speaking, let me just ask you, what makes the MonarchSphere, and you're from Google's perspective, I guess, different from other university AI initiatives that you've been seeing nationally?
Yeah, as I kind of said at the start, it's the complete buy-in of the institution. That is the difference maker here. I think support from leadership all the way through is a difference maker here, because when everybody is in the same boat, rowing in the same direction, and there's not kind of piecemeal, hey, I'm doing stuff over here and I'm developing over here, it's you move much faster as a team, and that's kind of what we see with the ODU partnership.
And so, Krista, let me just ask you two questions real quick. Someone wants to know whether or not they can access the MonarchSphere without a student ID.
Yes. Yes, they can, and they can access it, and they can request. We have an intake process. They can also reach out directly to me at this point, especially early on, and I can guide them through the intake process, because I'm not gonna lie, it is not just a simple questionnaire, because we try to validate. And like I said, MonarchSphere is not just for somebody that has this very structured idea and wants to move into the experimentation. We help with scoping. Somebody might say, hey, I have these processes, I have this problem in my organization. Could AI be the solution? So we provide this expertise. So they can, and I will share with you, so maybe you can share with the attendees my contact information and the intake process for MonarchSphere, possibly some leave behind, who leave behind. We're going to coordinate so they can really reach out directly.
And Krista, why did ODU find Google as the right partner for this initiative?
I'm glad you asked this question, and I think that Adam touched a little bit from his perspective, and I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't easy, and we didn't make it easy for Google, right, Adam? We
Yep.
worked on this for over a year. Obviously, is the innovation. What Google brings to the table is not simply a cloud provider. We see that a lot. They bring innovation layer that it's missed across the field big tech. So they care. They come with the engineer support. They come with the Adams of this field, Adam of this field. That it's not just a simple tech vendor. It is a real partner. So it was partnership. It was the full stack of AI. It was the capacity and capability that Google brings, that it's unparalleled to everything. Even a simple LLM, when we tested the LLMs, Gemini was in the 90s, the accuracy, and the rest of the well-known ones were in the 70s. So when we went into access to DeepMind and the deep models, that was a game changer. But most of all is this real partnership, that we can combine our own internal expertise with Google engineer and AI expertise with that powerhouse of infrastructure, and we can have the impact that we mentioned in the presentation.
I'll just add one thing that I wanted to highlight and I forgot to is in our models obviously are market leading, right? Gemini is out there, and as Krista says, the benchmarking is clear where we land in terms of leadership around that and multi-model experience. That said, our platforms are open, so the Vertex platform layer that I described on the third layer, that has an entire model garden that holds open source and proprietary models from other providers. So Anthropic's Claude, Meta's Llama, go through the list. There's 250 plus and counting LLMs that we hold in our cloud platform that you can pull into your environment and build on top of and present to the Gemini enterprise layer, that operating system. So if you find that this particular LLM that's in the market does something very, very well, and you want to build a solution on top of that, the platform that we've built, the operating system that we've built, allows for that. So Google has always been on the open source kind of side of things. So we want to encourage innovation and flow of creation, and that's part of our mantra.
Okay, Krista and Adam, tell us, use your crystal ball. Where do you think 3 to 5 years from now will the MonarchSphere success look like? What will it be able to do? How could you position Virginia as a leader in applied AI?
I can start. First of all, I think that we are going to see significant impact, not in 3 to 5 years, with the pace that AI moves, and especially now with agentic AI. I think that in a year from now, everybody's work is going to look different. Our lives are going to look different. So I think that one of the biggest success of MonarchSphere in 3 to 5 years is going to be not just saying that Virginia led and created the more models than everybody else, but that the models, the AI outputs that came through the AI products, and whatever projects we have through MonarchSphere had a real impact. I think it's what is the impact of the products that we develop from MonarchSphere, and they're going to have real world application. We're going to see implications positive in coastal resilience, in healthcare, and so on. So this is how we want to measure impact, and this is what we can say that we led through AI. Not AI for the sake of AI, but AI for the sake of healthcare innovation, coastal resilience, cybersecurity, and everything else that troubles us.
Yeah, as Chris has said, that timeline might be a little too far out to even predict based on the pace of innovation. But I agree with Chris that the outcomes are going to be incredible. I foresee ODU as taking a major seat at the table in the Eastern Seaboard as a developer of AI solutions in the EDU and research world. They're definitely positioned, as I said. They have the template. MonarchSphere is, in our opinion, an excellent way to approach this. And if we're not chasing AI and we're innovating on the foundational level, the sky's the limit. I think for the outcomes that'll come out of ODU.
Excellent. Thank you so very much, Adam and Krista. We're going to wrap things up very quickly here. Adam, I know you need to beg off here shortly, but let me just tell everyone what's going on. If you have any, want to know about our major initiatives, what's going on with RVA757 Connects, go to our website. All the information will be there. Also, a reminder that this webinar had been recorded, and we'll put the recording on our website later this afternoon. Please share it with others that you think might be interested in this. And we also have our webinars going back all the way to 2022, the last 4 years, are all on our website as well. So take a look at some fascinating topics, things like that. Just a reminder, remember April 1st, we have our webinar that will talk about the Lyme disease vaccine that's being developed here in the Richmond region. And again, thank you to Dr. Hemphill, to Krista, and to Adam for being our speakers today. Fascinating topic. We could probably delve into a lot more, but thank you for your leadership, Dr. Hemphill, on this, and Krista for pulling this together. It was a very fascinating, interesting program. Also, thank you again to our webinar sponsor today, Williams Mullen. We appreciate their support as well. And thank you to all of you for attending today. Have a great afternoon, and hope to see you in a month on April the 1st. Have a great day, everyone.